arguably the most important position in fantasy football. Let's talk about some running backs. Hey, what's up everybody? Jake, Fantasy Headliners, coming at you again. Got another one, got a different position for you. Today we're going to be talking about some running backs. The running backs can be one of the most difficult positions in all fantasy football to draft. I mean, you can have so many different options and so many different skill sets and situations that they're in on their given teams that sometimes it can make the decision hard. And as we get closer to the season, I'll go deeper into the rankings. But for right now, we're talking about our top 12 running backs here for 2018. Well, like in previous episodes, we're going to start from the bottom. Started from the bottom, now we're here. Never mind, not going to start singing. Number 12, though, going to go with Jordan Howard in Chicago. I'm maybe a little bit higher on Jordan Howard. That's okay. I don't mind being a little bit higher on Jordan Howard. The guy's going to see the workload. I mean, yes, Tariq Cohen is in town, and yes, he'll be involved, especially with the new coaching staff there in Chicago. But as far as the workhorse running back, it's going to be Jordan Howard. He's going to see a lot of work. Plus, they have the easiest projected strength of schedule. I know you can't put everything on that being this early in the year, but at least he's got that going for him to start off with. They do, in Chicago, lean on the run a lot more second half of the season. What happens in Chicago in the wintertime? Yep, it gets snowy, it gets windy, it gets rainy, it's cold, it's miserable. What do? They lean more on the run. They did it last year. They've done it for the past who knows how many years, like forever in Chicago. So you have that to count on. You can add, you can get that added workload here at the end of the year, and you can count on it. You know that it's coming because Tariq Cohen is not a three-down back that's going to be taking away work from Jordan Howard. They do have some more weapons there on the outside. They just got the Allen Robinson, Taylor Gabriel, and Trey Burton they added here to the tight end squad. That's going to pull some defenders out of the box. I mean, they can't jam the box with those guys on the outside. They'll get torched. They are going to have a longer leash on Trubisky this year, which is going to lead to a bigger passing game, which is only going to open up the run game more. If the offense is opened up and they're doing better, that means more goal line touches. Who's the goal line back in Chicago? Jordan Howard. Right now I got him projected for 1,150 yards and 8 touchdowns. Number 11 for me is going to be Devonta Freeman in Atlanta. I was really high on Devonta Freeman the past couple years, and 2 years ago he showed out. Last year, a little bit of a down year. Had some issues with some concussions and just wasn't the same, but it was the first year in that offense. So be patient with it and don't totally write the guy off. It's his second year under the Sarkisian offense. That's an improvement. I mean, if you guys remember when Kyle Shanahan was in Atlanta, his first year they struggled too. We didn't even think Devonta Freeman was good. And then look what happened the second year. Now, by no means is the new coaching staff to the offensive mastermind level of Kyle Shanahan, but they're good. Right, these players are not just they had a fluke year. They got some talent there in Atlanta, and the drafting of Calvin Ridley is going to help. Just like we talked about with Jordan Howard, they got weapons on the outside. Still have Mohamed Sanu. I don't know if Austin Hooper's really relevant or not, but Julio Jones on one side still got Tevin Coleman to compete with, which he will lose some touches to. And that's the only reason why he's all the way down to 11, not a little bit higher. Sometimes they'll have Tevin Coleman in there on the goal line, especially if Freeman helped him get all the way down there. That's just something to deal with Freeman. It's irritating, but he still produces. He doesn't need 20 carries a game to get you a productive day, and that's kind of what you're looking for. Being that Tevin Coleman is in the mix a little bit, his numbers will be somewhat skewed. But right now I got him projected for 1,000 yards rushing, 8 touchdowns, but then receiving-wise, another 45 catches for 400 yards and another 2 touchdowns. Number 10 is going to be Kareem Hunt out in Kansas City. And if you've watched my past episodes, you guys know already I'm not really high on Kareem Hunt. He won't be on a whole lot of my rosters this year. Nothing wrong with the kid, nothing wrong with the talent. I literally checked the depth chart before I started recording this video, and there's like 52 running backs on the roster in Kansas City. There's like way too many. Now, do they start the season with all of them? Probably not. But they are going to go to more of a committee-style offense in Kansas City this year. Andy Reid doesn't want to take the chance on overworking Kareem Hunt at the beginning again and then have him fizzle down the stretch. They need to split it up a little bit. And Spencer Ware coming back this year is the perfect back to do it with. Spencer Ware, for a year, there was a three-down back. I mean, these guys can go back and forth. They just signed Damian Williams. Charkandrick West is still there for now. I mean, they have options. But Andy Reid's going to want to avoid that fatigue with Kareem Hunt, and he's going to use some of these guys. He used to do it when Jamal Charles was the running back. He'll do it with Kareem Hunt. Spencer Ware's a solid, 1-2 punch. I mean, and we got to kind of look at it from an NFL perspective and not a fantasy perspective. For the Chiefs, it makes more sense for them to go 1-2 punch with Ware and Hunt. And I know it just irritates us fantasy guys, but it is what it is. We just got to plan for it. Mahomes being a rookie quarterback, I can see them trying to make him throw the ball a little bit more, but he's more than capable of doing that. That's what they brought him there for in the beginning anyway. They didn't have faith in Alex Smith's deep ball and his passing game. That changed last year. But by that point, they'd already drafted Mahomes and had a plan. So bringing in Sammy Watkins, still got Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, tons of weapons on the outside. They can't, leave the box crammed against the run game in Kansas City. So Kareem Hunt is going to have a decent year, but don't expect better than what he did last year. I got him projected for 1,175 yards, 6 touchdowns on the ground, another 45 catches, 375 through the air, and another touchdown. Number 9 is going to be Dalvin Cook in Minnesota. And Minnesota's improved offense is going to do nothing but help Dalvin Cook. They still got Diggs and Thielen on the outside. The addition of Kirk Cousins is going to keep the defense honest. They know that he's there to throw the ball also. Look for Kyle Rudolph to have a sneaky good year, but all these weapons along the outside are only going to help Dalvin Cook. They're going to open up run lanes because defenses can't stack the box against him. Now, yes, Latavius Murray is still in town, and there's going to be times where he steals a goal line carry, and it's going to piss us all off. But for the majority, this is Dalvin Cook's job, and he should see the bulk of the workload. Before he got hurt last year, he was averaging almost 5 yards a carry, which is crazy good. But he also is involved in the passing game. He can catch passes out of the backfield and do something with it. This is going to be a great, offense to watch on Sundays. It's going to be entertaining. They're going to have leads in the second half. And if they have leads in the second half, they're going to be leaning on the run to run the clock out. It's a perfect situation for Dalvin Cook. I got him projected for 1,150 yards, 8 touchdowns on the ground, another 40 catches for 225 through the air, and another touchdown. Number 8 on my list is going to be Saquon Barkley, the rookie in New York for the Giants. And there's a lot of hype. I mean, we're talking like a normal amount of hype for this kid. And it has to kind of do with the rookies that have come out here the past few years that have been successful. You've had the Zeke Elliott's and the Leonard Fournettes and the Kareem Hunts, and now all of a sudden Saquon Barkley is being crowned as this year's breakout rookie running back. But let's be real, okay? I love Saquon Barkley and I love his talent. They've upgraded the offensive line a little bit. They drafted Will Hernandez, and they got Nate Solder from the Patriots, so the left side of the line should be great. Should really be a benefit for both Eli and Saquon. But there's no surefire guarantee. There's a lot of people out there saying that every carry, he's a workhorse 3-down back. He's going to be super heavily involved. He probably will be. He'll be the number one, no doubt. But he's probably still going to have some carries split with other people. I mean, he is a rookie. They're not going to want to do to him what happened to Kareem Hunt last year either. They just signed Jonathan Stewart. Is Jonathan Stewart amazing? No. But they're going to have to, give the kid a break every once in a while. He's electric, he's special, but he's not used to the grind of an entire NFL season. I think he's going to have a great year. He has all the tools, needed to succeed, but he's just not proven at the NFL level yet. Love Saquon Barkley. I don't need all the haters. I'm not hating on Saquon Barkley. I'm just being realistic. Try not to overhype the guy before he even plays in his first preseason NFL game. Love Saquon Barkley. I got him projected for just over 1,000 yards, 1,050 yards, 7 touchdowns on the ground, another 45 catches through the air, 400 yards receiving, and another 2 touchdowns. Number 7 on my list is going to be Melvin Gordon of the Los Angeles Chargers. Melvin Gordon may be the most productive, unwanted running back in fantasy history. He just doesn't make it look good. Like, there's not a whole lot of sexiness with Melvin Gordon, and I get it. But the guy's been productive, and he's probably going to be productive again. I mean, their offensive line has improved from last year. They get Forrest Lamb back, and they just got Mike Pouncey from the Dolphins. A huge upgrade on the offensive line right there. They're a high-powered offense with weapons all over the place. He's going to get the bulk of the work. Yes, Austin Eckler's still there, and he looked good at times, but this is Melvin Gordon's job, and he's going to see close to 20 touches a game. He's going to see the goal line work. He's capable of being a 3-down back. He can catch passes out of the backfield. I mean, he's one of the few running backs that is on a team that is not starting the season with a legit committee. And where those guys are at, you got to grab them when you can because there's only a couple of them. And Melvin's one of them. I mean, he's just a workhorse back. He's had a few injury concerns in the past, but he's still been productive. He's not going to go out and get you 1,500 yards rushing. But I do have him projected this year for 1,100 yards on the ground with 8 touchdowns, but another 50 catches through the air for another 450 yards and another touchdown through the air. Number 6 on my list is going to be Leonard Fournette of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm pretty high on Leonard Fournette this year. I think this man beard-wearing dude is going to wear some fools out. They also, another team, improved their offensive line. They took left guard Andrew Norwell from right here at Carolina. And Andrew Norwell was one of the big reasons that Jonathan Stewart was anywhere near close productive here in Carolina. And it's a lot better situation there in Jacksonville. Fournette doesn't need gaping holes to run through. He'll run through it. But Andrew Norwell is a very, very athletic offensive lineman that should only help strengthen that overall line in Jacksonville. They do have the 7th easiest strength of schedule to start the season. That's always a plus. They have plenty of weapons on the outside like we've been talking about. They just added DJ Chark. They got Dante Moncrief. They got all the young guys with Dede Westbrook and Keelan Cole. They just signed ASJ, Austin Seferian-Jenkins. There's some stuff happening in Jacksonville. Blake Bortles is kind of an X factor. I don't know which Blake Bortles you get, the one who can't complete a pass or the one that's leading teams through the playoffs. I don't know, but we'll find out. But if he can be anywhere near consistent with those weapons on the outside, Fournette has a chance to have a better year this year than he did last year, and he had a great year last year. He faced more stacked boxes than any other running back in the NFL, and he was still productive. It just shows the type of back he is. He's kind of like the new school Marshawn Lynch of old. He's like new school beast mode. That's kind of what he is. Chris Ivory leaving only helps. Doesn't take away anybody to take those goal line carries. TJ Yeldon is the next on the depth chart to really take anything from him, but come on, it's TJ Yeldon. I mean, it's not going to happen a whole lot. Love Leonard Fournette this year. Got him projected for 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns on the ground. Another 40 catches for 350 yards and another touchdown through the air. Number 5 is the hype train of Alvin Kamara. And before I get into Alvin Kamara, let me just say that the longer we go into this preseason, his name might start falling more and more down my list, but not a lot. I think right now, though, until we get some more details and to see if New Orleans does sign another running back, I got him at number 5. He could fall, though, before the season starts, so make sure you guys keep a watch out for that. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you can hear all the late-breaking news of what's going on. Alvin Kamara, though, he's kind of almost matchup-proof because they're going to have him in the backfield. They're going to have him line up in the slot. I mean, he's going to be all over the place, so you can't just shut down Alvin Kamara if they're playing against a tough run D. It doesn't matter. Sean Payton is a master at using pass-catching backs. I mean, he made Reggie Bush relevant for a couple years. Remember the Darren Sproles years? I mean, he knows how to use these types of players. Now, his TDs may regress a little bit. He may, slow down a little bit on the touchdowns. I mean, dude was going absolutely crazy last year. But his ability to break tackles and make big plays, he's still going to have a huge TD upside from week to week. New Orleans is another team. Added weapons on the outside. I mean, now they have Cameron Meredith there. They did add Ben Watson. And I know some of you guys are saying, who cares? It's Ben Watson. Ben Watson and Drew Brees have some pretty good chemistry from playing together a couple years ago. And he's got to be better than Kobe Fleener, right? But they got Cameron Meredith. They lost Willie Snead. Meredith is an upgrade there. Michael Thomas still surefire number 1 stud wide receiver. Plenty of people to pull people out of the box. He does get an extra 4 games as of today without Mark Ingram, so that should only boost some production. You can't always buy into the hype of the coaches saying, oh, we're not going to overuse him. They're going to use him for 4 weeks. They're not going to come out and just tell you their game plan. I mean, it's a big chess match. I like Alvin Kamara, but as of right now, he's kind of leveled off. He's not trending up by any means on my board. I got him projected for 800 yards rushing, 7 touchdowns on the ground. 85 receptions, though, 825 yards through the air with another 4 touchdowns receiving. Number 4 on my list is going to be LeVeon Bell. And number 4 is probably about as low as people have him ranked. And it's not that I don't like Le'Veon Bell as a player. I know it's been known on this station before that I'm not a huge Steelers fan. But that bias is completely put aside right here. I've said it before. I'm irritated with the whole contract situation, not showing up for OTAs again. Is he going to show up for the preseason? Is he going to be ready week 1? Are we going to have a slow start like we did last year? A lot of people were irritated with his slow start last year, thinking that they were going to have somebody come out of the box and just be 20 points a game for fantasy. And if he doesn't play in the preseason or the OTAs, it's going to take him a couple weeks to get his game speed back. You can't simulate that when you're out there working by yourself on a field somewhere. It's totally different. So with being that he's already not shown up for OTAs, you kind of got that slow start potential again, which is irritating. And is this contract talk going to spill all throughout the year and just cause more drama than anything and be a distraction to the team? It's possible. Is it likely? I don't think so. They're all professionals and they'll probably see their way through it. But if I'm picking my top running back, I'd rather pick somebody who doesn't have all the baggage that LeVeon Bell has right now. He's an elite talent. He's capable of huge numbers. And they'll probably use him a ridiculous amount when he's there. But all that other stuff comes along with it, and I'm not willing to take that chance and put him in the top 3. I do have him at number 4, and I have him projected for 1,150 yards and 8 touchdowns rushing, another 70 receptions, 650 yards, and 2 touchdowns receiving. Number 3 is going to be David Johnson out in Arizona, but let's be realistic. I'm going to be honest. 2 and 3 was kind of a toss-up for me, so I'm just going to call him 2B. For right now. We'll call him 2B, and I'll tell you why. Okay, so he's coming back from an injury. Yeah, it's a wrist injury. It's a fluke injury, not something that's likely to happen again. It's nothing wrong with his legs. He can still cut, not ACL tears, push off, looks great in OTAs, looks in the best shape that we've seen him here coming into an NFL season, and he's one of the only options in Arizona for offense. I mean, it's him, it's Larry Fitzgerald, and the newly drafted Christian Kirk, and that's about it. They're going to have to rely heavily on David Johnson. He's going to be a 3-down workhorse. There's nobody there to take carries from him. He can catch the ball great out of the backfield. And he's done it before, right? I mean, he's had huge seasons before. He's proved it. The only issue this year is they do have a new coaching staff. We know how David Johnson was used under the Bruce Arians era, but we don't really know what it's like with Steve Wilks. Now, I kind of expect it'll be somewhat similar just because Johnson shows that he could be productive in that role. But we don't know for sure. You know, Josh Rosen will be starting here at some point. Defense will probably going to try to make him beat them with the pass. And David Johnson could benefit from that. I mean, there's been lots of times where rookie quarterbacks have been forced to check down a lot, and David Johnson's going to be the one they're checking down to. It's a great opportunity for David Johnson. He's already come out and said he wants to go for 1,000 rushing and 1,000 receiving. He said the same thing last year. Never got a chance to do it. And if there's anybody in football that could do it, it's David Johnson. He's got all the talent, all the tools, everything you want in your starting running back. And I would gladly take him with my number 1 pick with given the opportunity. Right now I have him projected for 1,100 yards, 13 touchdowns rushing, 65 receptions for 750 yards, and 4 touchdowns receiving. So we did 2B, so let's go to 2A. And in that 2A, I got Ezekiel Elliott in Dallas. He's still running behind one of the best offensive lines in football. I mean, that's worth something. I mean, the guy's got huge horses in front of him to push the pile wherever it is he wants to go. And plus, he's strong enough to push through, arm tackles and has the ability to break a big one at any time. They really have no big-name wide receiver in Dallas this year. Now that Dez is gone, but I think people are kind of underrating that passing offense a little bit. Allen Hurns, decent. You still got the Beasles underneath. He's okay. The newly drafted Michael Gallup. Like Michael Gallup, he could see a huge workload, especially with the off-the-field issues now of Terrence Williams. And all this is consistent wide receivers for Dak to throw to. And that's still got to keep the defense honest. Zeke's going to get close to 300 touches. Not too many people in football are going to see 300 touches, and he's been productive with those touches in the past. This year he has no off-field issues to worry about, which is a plus because in the past that had to be in the back of his mind week in and week out whether he was going to play or not. I don't need to sell you guys on Ezekiel Elliott. You know he's got the talent. And this year I have him projected for a really good year. 1,500 yards and 13 touchdowns on the ground. Another 30 receptions for 350 yards and 2 touchdowns through the air. Number 1 on my list is going to be Todd Gurley. And I know, I'm probably going to get some hate mail for it. A lot of people starting to fall off the Todd Gurley bandwagon. I even heard an overrated for Todd Gurley the other day. But I don't really understand why. He's the same running back he was last year, in the same offense as last year. The offense didn't change, really. They lost Sammy Watkins, but they got Brandon Cooks, who's basically Sammy Watkins if he was 6 inches shorter. Their defense improved, which means that they probably have more leads in the games, meaning that they'll lean on the run harder in the second half. He's going to get a huge workload. He doesn't have anybody to steal carries. They did draft John Kelly, but unless they're up by a lot or Gurley just gets tired or hurt, John Kelly's not going to see the field very much. I mean, this offense is going to run around Todd Gurley. He could see huge numbers this year. I'm not trying to overhype Todd Gurley by any means, but there's nothing to me pointing that he's going to have any type of regression. He emerged in 2017 as more of a pass-catching back, which is a huge plus to his value, and he's probably going to have that same value again. I have him projected for a huge year as my number 1 running back on my board. Got 1,400 yards, 12 touchdowns on the ground, another 60 receptions for 680 yards and 4 touchdowns through the air. Love some Todd Gurley this year. All right, guys, those are my top 12 running backs here for preseason 2018. And like we said, this list is going to be ever evolving. The closer we get to the preseason and once these games start getting played, the list's going to change. Make sure you guys are liking and commenting and subscribing to the channel. I'll be going back through these rankings here in a few weeks, and we're going to see where everybody goes. We're going to start seeing where everybody falls, and by the time the season starts, we'll have them pretty dialed in. Really appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys are commenting below. Somebody you want to know some more information on, hit me up. By all means, I'll go into more detail, but I'm not about to sit here and talk to you guys for an hour about it. I know you guys got things to do, trying to get you through this list and get your questions answered. Really appreciate you guys. We'll talk to you guys later. Thanks.